Before we start, I want to thank War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. I've not really played as a vampire in Skyrim for more than like a week in-game. I would like to spend a little bit more time trying to see what it's like living as a vampire in Skyrim. So here we are, spending 100 days as a vampire. Now hear me out, I did try to pick a race based around the build I wanted to go for. I knew I wanted to mess around with illusion in this playthrough, and the High Elves are the only race that start out with an illusion spell. However, when I was making my character, I wasn't really feeling it. So I went with this Breton instead. They're pretty good with magic, and I just really like how this character looks. While me and Hadvar take on these Imperials, I'm gonna set out some rules for the playthrough. First rule is I'm not gonna be messing around with any of the crafting skills. As much as I love grinding out enchanting, alchemy, and smithing, I think it could change things up for me to not do that. Number 2 is no reloading old saves. One thing I'm really bad about doing is getting into trouble and just reloading a save so I don't have to deal with it. And with us playing as a vampire, going through the Dawn Guard DLC as a vampire, that's gonna be rough on me. So I promise I will not reload a save if we get into trouble. And there's probably gonna be so much trouble. Finally, we're gonna be using Conjuration, but only to raise the dead. I think that will match my vampire build nicely and stop me from just summoning something to keep me out of danger. Which again, I love to do, and no shame on people that do it. Just trying to keep things different for me myself. These rules are mostly based around me and the things I've done in the past. The amount of comments I get, people tell me, well, that's the way I play anyway. Nobody gives a hoot, okay? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You can still type out that comment. I fought my way through Helgen Keep and eventually got my first level. I put my first attribute point into Magicka. Spoilers, I only ever put points into Magicka in this playthrough. We're gonna be extremely squishy. But that's fine because I put the perk point into the stealth skill, which will make me 20% harder to detect. Look how sneaky I'm being right now, they don't even see me. The Stormcloaks are blind. Continued to storm through the keep, fighting all of those Stormcloaks and spiders, and ended up getting another level. I put the attribute point into Magicka. Bet you didn't see that one coming. But I'm gonna save the perk point for now. I'm not sure what I want to spend it on. I made it out into the world of Skyrim. Now to run on down to the Standing Stones. I gotta say, it's very, very hard not taking all of the flowers around me right now. I feel like I'm breaking the law. Managed to keep myself together though and grab the Mage Stone to help me level those respected skill trees a little faster. And then I headed on down the road with Hadvar to Riverwood. Once there, I got told to get word of the dragon attack to the Jarl of Whiterun. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I instead sold a bunch of things I'd collected on the way to the merchants here and bought the Fury spell from Lucan. I barely touched illusion in this game over the many years of playtime, so I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into. Now the Fury spell makes it so low-level targets, when hit by it, attack anything and everything in the nearby area. So I can make groups of bandits turn on themselves, for example. Before leaving, I went and did a very simple side job of getting Sven to be friendly towards me. I know a lot of people prefer the elf, but I always go for the elf. I'm trying to switch things up here. I know he's not a great follower, but at least we have some cannon fodder. Then I headed on up the mountain out front of Riverwood to get to Bleak Falls Burrow. Now, I'm not a vampire yet, obviously. I planned on trying to become one as quick as possible. I know as some easy vampires are to go get the disease, but I was gonna get to level 10 to start the Dawn Guard DLC to become a vampire that way. And it always feels like Bleak Falls Burrow is a good way to break in a new character. On the way to the dungeon, I had my first successful illusion attempt. I got these two bandits to fight each other while I stood and watched with a smile on my face. And finally, I made it to Bleak Falls Burrow for the 221st time in my life. Yeah, and that's a fact. I've been counting every single time I come here. I continued inside to sneak around and cast illusion spells to make people fight each other whenever I could. They don't work on the Droger inside here, but they will 100% work on these bandits. It's weird. Normally this guy wants to run away from you, but casting the fear spell, I made him turn around and fight me. That is a first for me. We're gonna take the golden claw that he had on him so that we can progress the area, continuing to add attribute points into Magicka. Since we aren't using enchanting, we're gonna need a large mana pool to play with. Progressing through, I also got my sneak up to 20. Now we can add another point into it so that we sneak around a little better. And I also put a few points into one-handed too, so we do more damage with our one-handed weapons. And I took the Novice Illusionist to make novice illusion spells cost less Magicka to cast. I'm not very sneaky yet, but I can get pretty close to most things without them seeing me now. Yeah, I said pretty close. I didn't say they wouldn't see me. But we are getting there, sneakier and sneakier by the minute. Made it to the end of Bleakfall's Burrow to grab the word of power from the wall and kill this guy to get the dragonstone he carries. I say kill, but I kinda just danced back and forth here, letting Sven take a shot at him over and over until it was weak enough for me to steal his kill. There is the dragonstone. We're gonna need that later. After looting the end room, I left. I'm not bothered about the main storyline. I'm not gonna be doing it. But I did turn in the dragonstone just so it wasn't weighing me down, and I bought the muffle spell. If I cast this over and over again, we will increase our level into illusion, which I used just to get me up to level 10. After Bleakfall's Burrow, we weren't too far away from it anyway, so I didn't have to cast it for too long. And if you're curious what it does, it makes my footsteps quiet, so this will come in handy for me anyway. I put all of these points into the illusion skill tree just to make it so my spells worked on higher level targets. I took Animage, I took Kindred Mage, finally I took Hypnotic Gaze. All three of those just make my spells work on higher level targets. And now to start the Dawn Guard DLC, we have to go talk to some guards until they mention that there's a group of vampire hunters that are called the Dawn Guard. Now, I don't know if you can just go straight to where the Dawn Guard are located to start this quest. I've never tried to do that. Maybe you can, but we got the quest this way now anyway. Then, to join the Dawn Guard, we have to go behind Riften to Fort Dawn Guard to join up. So I went and paid the carriage outside of Whiterun to get to Riften. We aren't gonna go straight into Riften itself for now. We are just gonna walk on by to go right to the fort. Now, going through this cave area, we can get to this place. Now, this is still my favorite DLC ever released by any game ever. I remember the feeling I had loading it up and how excited I was to play it back on my Xbox 360 10 years ago. This game brings me back and I will never not play it. We start out the quest by heading up the hill with a wannabe vampire hunter to try to join the Dawn Guard. Going inside, we talk to a man called Isran, who gets me right to work telling me to go out into the field to a place called Dim Hollow Crypt, where there has been vampires poking around. I need to go find out what the vampires are looking for there. He doesn't know, but I'm about to switch sides already. Yeah, next time they see me, I'm gonna have very bright eyes, and I'm gonna kill every single one of them. Dim Hollow Crypt is pretty far away, so we're gonna go to Whiterun again. And we're gonna take the carriage to get a little bit closer. This is Morphal, and it is pretty close to Dim Hollow Crypt. I know, I can't say the name very well. My accent just won't let me say Morphal. Morphal? Did I say that right? That was pretty close, right? I don't think anyone in the Skyrim community would judge me for how I'm scaling this mountain. It's everyone that's not in the Skyrim community that would judge us. There's a path that starts somewhere that would get up there easier, but here we are. I made it. Master Mountain Climber here, at your service. I should get a horse. They're much better at climbing mountains. Now head on into Dim Hollow Crypt, which is this cave, and I gotta say, I had a lot of issues here. Yeah, you find a bunch of vampires inside, and they killed me a lot. One thing that did help is I bought this Raise Dead spell in Whiterun, so taking out an enemy and then getting to reanimate it was very, very nice and helped out a lot, but it is a one-time use per enemy. Once they die, they turn to dust and you can't bring them back. So we have to be careful where and when we use it. I don't want to waste it. Oh, we got some new Conjuration vampire armor though. That is nice. Do you want to know something else I've been playing lately? War Thunder. It's a highly realistic combat simulator that I've sunk a lot of time into over the last few days since I found out about it, and it's available for free on PC and consoles. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across all platforms that include multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium accounts. I'm still pretty new to it and have a lot to learn about this awesome game. You can choose between battles in the sky, on the land, and in the water, which is my personal favorite I'd recommend. Get stuck into the intense combat War Thunder provides and choose from over 2,500 detailed and super realistic vehicles to play around with and use to control the battlefield for yourself. The graphics of this game have seriously blown me away. The details on the vehicles are impeccable, and it has highly authentic sound effects to keep you immersed for days on end like I have been. There are over 70 million players having fun with the game, grinded to be the best there is in awesome PvP battles. There is so much high quality content for you to discover in War Thunder. So what are you waiting for? Create an account today and hopefully I will see you out there on the battlefield someday. And yeah, like I said, this place continued to be rough, and making it to the room we're supposed to meet Serana, I realized I don't think I can beat these people yet. So instead, I decided to get one of the vampires' attention to cast their spells and hurt me until I contracted their disease. And then I quickly used a level up to heal before I died. If you didn't know, you can save a level up, and when you're in danger, you can use it to heal. And after that, I simply left. Yep, now I have vampire juice making its way through my system. We will eventually turn into one ourselves. My health is reduced by a fair bit at this stage. There will be some positive effects that will come later, but for now, it's only bad. Day 5, I went to go kill some time. I headed on into Riverwood to return the Golden Claw to who it belongs to. And that guy is Lucan, the guy we bought the Fury spell from earlier. I got a nice chunk of coin from returning it as a reward. We're gonna head on down the road to Embouchard Mine to continue to kill some time waiting for my vampirism to progress. And while inside, I was working on my skills, mostly sneak. Still trying to get used to this whole illusion thing, making other people fight each other. But I did get my hands dirty from time to time. Oh, I got this elven arm piece that gives 25% extra one-handed damage. Nice. Since we're not going to be relying on enchanting, finding stuff like this is going to be great. I finished up Embouchard Mine, just a bunch of bandits to kill. And now I'm going to take the carriage outside Winterhold to Markarth. This place is both weird and insanely pretty at the same time. However, I'm not here to sightsee, I'm here to work on my sneak. If I head underground to the Warrens, there is a guy that can train my sneak level. Every level you can train 5 times with a trainer. So I trained the 5 times, leveled up, and trained an additional 5 times. That's 10 for those of you that suck at math. I'm talking to you, Kevin. Yep. I really hope there's someone called Kevin watching now. Anyways, with my skill points, I took the backstab skill, which makes my sneak attacks with one-handed weapons do 6 times extra damage instead of the 3 times you normally would get from sneak attacks. And then we're gonna take muffled movement, which makes my noise from armor be reduced by 50%. Finally, we will take the third armsman. Now my one-handed weapons will do 60% more damage. They'll just traveling around, doing a bunch of random stuff. I'm in Whiterun again. I'm gonna pick up some bounties from the innkeeper. Like I mentioned about 9 times already, since we're not doing alchemy, enchanting, or smithing, doing jobs like this is gonna be good for getting coin. We don't get paid a lot for doing these jobs, but we will loot a bunch and sell all of the loot. Speaking of loot, I got a new backpack on day 6 that I found. While wearing it, my carry capacity will increase by 75 points. Found a new mace. I'm sneaking around a bandit camp, but I can't wait to smack someone with it. You will do just fine. Hold this for me. Flying up the ranks with sneak, I got it up to 40 now, so we can put the third point into stealth, which is gonna be nice to get a bunch of sneak attacks with. Take that, sucker. Did you guys know you can do this? Since I've been playing on PC, I've noticed whipping out your hands over and over again while you're holding a spell will make you sneak faster. And if you stop, you go back to normal speed. I bet that's been in the game forever and I'm only now learning about it. Oh, it's happening. I am now a vampire. Yeah, there is my orange eyes. Now you get a bunch of effects for being a vampire. Some are good and some are bad. The first effect is called Champion of the Night. This makes my illusion spells be 25% more powerful. Then we have Night Stalker's Footsteps, which makes me 25% harder to detect while sneaking. We have Resist Disease. My vampiric blood gives me 100% resistance to any disease. We have Resist Frost. My vampiric blood gives you 20% resistance to frost. Resist Poison as well, 100% resistance to poison. But there are some bad things we get too, like weakness to fire, as well as the weakness to sunlight effect. Now, not just my health is affected, but my health, magic, and stamina do not recover while in sunlight and are reduced by 15 points. And that's just the start. The longer we go without feeding, the worse that will get. But so do things like my resistance to frost and weakness to fire. We do have some other vampire powers as well, like improved night vision for 60 seconds. And a new destruction spell called Vampiric Drain. We can use that to absorb 2 points of health per second from a target. I don't think I'll be using that for like the whole playthrough, honestly. Something I found odd that it said my mana, stamina, and health do not recover during the day. And I can tell you that my stamina and health did not recover during the day, but you can see my mana pool is definitely going back up. And it did that in the whole video. I didn't have any issues with mana not regenerating during the day. I also remember a big reason why I didn't used to love becoming a vampire was because I think at stage 4, people in towns and stuff would get mad at you and attack you. Like, they would recognize you're a vampire. And now they still do kind of recognize you as a vampire. They make comments and stuff, but they don't attack you and get mad. That was changed, I think, when they added the Dawn Guard DLC, actually. Which I don't know how I feel about. I kind of wish they kept that. Might just be me, though. You know the one thing that sucks the most about being a vampire? Get it? Sucks. Because I'm a vampire. Is that whenever I step outside, I get blinded by the sun. I'm still walking around with Sven, which is like one of the worst followers in the game, I know. Before we return to try to take on Dim Hollow Crypt again, I think we should get a better follower. So I ran down the road to the watchtower to progress the main story enough so we can get Lydia as a follower. We just have to kill the dragon that attacked the watchtower, and when I say we, I mean everyone except me. Yeah, for maybe the first time ever, I did 0 damage myself to this dragon. I just watched everyone else do all of the work. I'll just take all of the glory at the end. After taking the dragon's soul from the dead dragon, finding out that I'm dragonborn, I returned to a grateful Jarl who gave me Lydia to follow me around on my adventures. Should be much more equipped than Sven to take on Dim Hollow Crypt with me. So let's head back. Most of this place was already cleared out, so it was just a matter of getting back to where we were. This was the room that was giving me the most trouble. One of these enemies here can get affected by my Fury spell. I believe it's a thrall, a vampire thrall. But the vampires themselves are either totally immune or are too powerful to be affected by my illusion spells yet. So after turning the thrall on the vampires, that thrall is now dead and I can reanimate him to help. That is 1 person down. There was a skeleton around. Easy to kill, they fall apart the second you hit them. I found out when Lydia gets low on health, I can cast the Fury spell on her and it will make her attack anything and everything, but it will also heal her. So I took advantage of that and swung away at the vampires until they were dead. By the time the vampires were taken down, the spell casted on Lydia was broken, so I didn't have to worry about fighting my own follower. Now that I've got this big room all to myself, I can investigate. And doing just that, I put my hand on this thing and got flippin' stamped. Now we have a very easy puzzle to solve. We have to push these braziers to meet up with the flames. After doing that, the flames will extend so we can push another brazier onto it. After creating a ring of fire, the floor sunk down, revealing a stone monolith that I can interact with, and touching it will reveal a mysterious woman. And that mysterious woman is a vampire called Serana. And on her back, she has a Elder Scroll. She could tell I was a vampire myself and asked for help getting back to her family. But we're gonna have to fight our way out. There is a lot of enemies in the way. Made it past enough enemies, and now we can exit Dim Hollow back into Skyrim's harsh, cold weather. Your family home is behind Solitude, so we better start moving. It's a bit of a walk from here. Took a while, but I made it. There is Serana's family home off in the distance. I have to take this boat on over and introduce myself. Serana said when we're done inside, she's gonna go her own way, just for a little bit. So I went on in and was met by Lord Harkin. This is Serana's father, who tells me that the vampires here are among some of the oldest and strongest in Skyrim and offers me a reward for returning Serana safely home. His reward is to become a vampire lord.
Perhaps you still need convincing. Behold the power! This is the power that I offer. Now, make your choice.
I, of course, accepted and took the bite like a champ. And I woke up at the back of the castle with Harkin explaining my new powers to me. We can transform into the Vampire Lord ourselves now. And this form is pretty OP, but I've never really messed with it much in the past, I will say. We have 2 modes, the flying mode and the ground mode. When I'm flying around, I can cast spells, and when I'm on the ground, I can use my claw attacks. I also have a new skill tree that I can unlock independently from the other skill leveling system. We get perks to spend here when we kill living things with the Vampire Lords. We can return to our regular form whenever we want and back to the Vampire Lord for as long as we want. I think if we use it in places like towns, we'll get in trouble though, like we'll get bounties. People will be mad at us. Harkin told me he had a task for me and to talk to another vampire in the castle. Now I did just that and was given a chalice to go fill. By the sounds of things, when used by vampires, the chalice increases the potency of our powers. We'll get more into that later, but there's a red spring that we have to go use to fill up the chalice. There is also stables inside Harkon's castle. We can use this place to stave off the thirst when we want to. I'm not gonna do that too much because it does weaken our powers, and we don't really need to do it since people don't really fear us as a vampire anymore since the Dawn Guard DLC got added. I ran off the wide run. I wanted to test out my new Vampire Lord powers and maybe get a level or two into the new skill tree. So I talked to these Alakir warriors. I don't care about the quests so much, but they're looking for a Red Guard woman that you can find in the inn in Whiterun. Talking to the Red Guard woman, she wants your help to take out those Alakir warriors. To find the Alakir warriors hideout, I went to talk to one that had got himself captured and is in prison. The only way he would tell me where they were hiding out was if I paid to get him out of here. So I talked to the guard, paid the money, and he told me exactly where to go to find them. Is there a floating mammoth up there? Are you... wait, what? He's gone, okay. The Alakir warriors were hanging out in Swindler's Den, this cave right here. They wanted to talk, but I only have one thing on my mind, and that's leveling up my vampire lords. It was very easy. Once I attacked, they all sort of just went after Lydia. All I had to do was take them out from behind. I got 3 levels total for my vampire lords. Now, I will get all of these skills eventually, but for now, let's obviously take Power of the Grave. That will make my vampire lord have 50 points bonus of health, stamina, and magicka. This one I found more fun than anything. We got Vampiric Grip I'm gonna take. Can pull a creature to you from a distance and do choking damage once it's close. And then finally, I'm gonna take Summon Gargoyle. I can conjure a gargoyle to fight for me. And I'm gonna allow myself to use the gargoyles. It's a vampire lord thing anyway. I'll still only continue to raise the dead when I'm in my normal form. I ran into Whiterun to sell a bunch of the junk I'd been collecting. I'm also looking for enchanted bits to buy, but I'm not really finding anything I want to use. And for the rest of the day, I just messed around with my vampire lords. That is the Vampiric Grip spell. I can't get enough of it. You can grab people and throw them. It's great. I think it's time we go fill up that chalice for Lord Harkon. Made it to Redwater Den. Seems to have some nice, friendly people outside. It's unfortunate, but I did kill them. Did I need to do it? Maybe not. Did I want to do it? Maybe. Same goes for everyone inside. I don't think you have to kill these people, but I'm leveling my vampire lord doing it, so I'm gonna continue to do it. The only thing that kind of sucks is that I can't loot in this form, so I'm constantly swapping back to my normal form to loot and then back to the vampire lord to fight. I made it to the Redwater Spring, but some traitor turned up. They want to take the chalice and fill it themselves to get the glory. We're not gonna let them do that. I'm gonna kill them and take it back myself. Which I did. I returned to this guy who said he knew the traitors would follow me. Something about vampire politics. Now back to Harkon sitting by the fire, who talks about the sun being the enemy and that he no longer wants it to control vampires. Also, who names their kid Harkon? Sounds like a name for a duck. He gave a speech telling everyone to look for a moth priest around Skyrim to read Serana's Elder Scroll to find out the secret to that prophecy. Now, Serana wants to come with me, but doesn't want Lydia third wheeling. I wanted her as my follower anyway, so that's fine. Now, I got 3 Vampire Lord perks to spend, which is exciting. First perk we're gonna take is Unearthly Will. It'll make my night powers and blood magic cost 33% less. I'm also gonna take Poison Talons, makes my melee attacks do 20 points of poison damage. And finally, I'm gonna take Night Cloak. While in combat, you are surrounded by a cloud of bats, and they feed on enemies nearby. Ooh, I got attacked by the Dawn Guard, and I got this better one-handed weapon after I killed them. Looks nice and does more damage than my old mace. I actually decided to check out some of the other bits going on around the castle. I talked to the blacksmith, who had me talk to an alchemist to get a job. He mentioned some rings that are no longer in our possession and that should increase our vampire abilities. We will see for ourselves what these rings are about. Gotta go into the middle of nowhere to head into this cave. Has some Falmer inside to take down, and there is the ring. Oh, it's actually not bad. Plus 100 magicka. And magicka regenerates faster. I'm gonna put that on for now. I have 3 skill points to spend in my normal form. I'm gonna take Lightfoot, which will make it so I don't trigger pressure plates. I'll take Adept Illusionist, which will make my illusion spells at the Adept level cost less to cast. And finally, Aspect of Terror. Now my fear spells work on higher level opponents. We're not done with rings yet. There's a second ring we have to get, a part of this quest. This one is called Ring of the Beast, and it's in a place called Bristleback Cave. cave. I absolutely was not expecting this cave to be on Solstheim of all places. Yeah, Solstheim is a part of the Dragonborn DLC, and I don't plan on doing any of the Dragonborn DLC in this playthrough. But I do have to hire a boat to get over there so we can get to that cave. Made it to the island, and now we have to go around the side of the island. To make things easier on myself, I flew along the side of the ocean to get to that cave. Inside and outside of the cave was being used by Reiklins as a home. I feel bad. They're little ice goblins and they're adorable, but I need that ring, so they all gotta die. And inside the cave, this place was a lot bigger than I was expecting, and there was so many Reiklins. They did not stop coming. After a long time of clearing out this cave, I finally got the Ring of the Beast. This one is also pretty good. While wearing this ring, you receive 100 extra health, and my claw attacks do an additional 20 damage. I'm likely gonna stick with the first ring we got, but this one is still pretty cool.
I trust you'll put those to good use then.
Wasn't giving them back anyway, sucker. Now he has some places to go to get amulets that are supposed to help us out too. After the rings, I'm now very curious and I want to go get them. I bumped into a dragon on the way to the first amulet, and I got my first dragon kill with the Vampire Lord. It took a while to kill it. We are not done with monster killing yet because the first amulet is being held by this giant. Down it goes, and there is the amulet. The amulet of bats. While wearing this amulet, the bats will drain life from any nearby enemies. Sounds like my Vampire Lord's perk that I took, but I guess this would work in my regular form as well. Second amulet is in this dungeon somewhere. We've got some weak Droger inside to deal with. You know, it's a fresh way to play for me though, switching back and forth a lot, and both my forms have entirely different playstyles. The Vampire Lord is very out there and loud, versus my normal form is very sneaky and anti-fighting altogether. Both are fun to play and I'm really enjoying it. Anyways, up ahead is where the next amulet is hiding. Just behind this door, there is a guy that is very much dead. And there is the amulet. While wearing it, my summon gargoyle spell summons an additional gargoyle. Oh, that is really cool. I'm not wearing an amulet yet either, so whoa, what the Now that we have both amulets, I think it's time we go back to the vampires. Oh, stupid Drogas. Actually, the vampires are gonna have to wait for a sec. My inventory is full as heck and I need to sell some things. After I got done, I was trying to fast travel to the castle, but I was getting spawn killed. I couldn't even move. Stupid Dawn Guard turning up to get a piece. So instead, I traveled to the boat just off the castle and flew over with my Vampire Lord. Yeah, now we can take them out nice and easily. Revenge is sweet. Returned to the guy that gave me the quest for the amulets, and he redirected me to another vampire that has a job for me, who I couldn't find anywhere. Is he in? No, not in there. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I didn't notice the marker on my compass telling me exactly where he was. I'm playing this game for 10+ years and I forgot that was a thing for a second. My next job is to recruit a person to our vampire group. Yep, he picked someone out over at Riften who we need to go turn into a vampire. And what made things more interesting was that I was getting hunted around Riften by the Dawn Guard. Yeah, I don't feel confident in my hand-to-hand combat skills when I'm not in my Vampire Lord form. And if I turn into that right now, everyone will get really mad at me here. So I just snuck around playing hide and seek with the Dawn Guard in Riften till I found the guy I needed to turn. I have a spell called Vampire Seduction, which pacifies people. I casted Vampire Seduction on him to pacify him, and then I took a chunk out of his neck. I'm sure there's better ways to do it, like waiting for night and finding him sleeping or something, but it's way too late for that now. Yeah, bounty on my head, and I just slipped out. We'll deal with that later if I need to. Day 20 now, and I'm back at the castle turning in that job. The guy that gave it to me said if we return to the new vampire, he would show his appreciation. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm a wanted man there, and I'd rather not go straight back. I'd also been getting these potions of blood from doing a load of these quests, so they work the same as feeding. If I was to feed on someone in the stables, it would stave off my hunger. Same thing as just taking these potions. They're very convenient if you want to do that, and they're lying all over the castle too. I went to get another assignment from the vampires. There's a load of side quests you can get from the vampires, and I'd like to do all of of them in this video. With some of them endless, like the one we just did, turning someone into a vampire, we will eventually get that job again just for another person, and we can do it over and over again. But as long as I do one of every available side quest, I think I'll be happy. This guy says he'd been researching the blood chalice and says to bring me the petrified remains of an ancient vampire to extend the powers of the blood chalice. I've not really been messing with the chalice, but if we go over here to it, we can activate it and get this power to make my vampiric drain spell better for 1 days. You heard me right, days with an S. 1 days. Back to the Vampire Lord skill tree. I put a point into blood healing, and now killing a person with a power attack bite restores all of my health. I traveled to Morphal. I'm still saying that wrong. Since the petrified remains of the vampire were nearby there, but they were getting attacked by a dragon. So I did the honorable thing and I walked off. Yeah, I don't need to be a hero, I'm a blood-sucking vampire. Anyways, there is the cave where the petrified remains are supposed to be. Had some spiders and vampires inside. It is literally just a vampire arm. I don't know what I was expecting. That's kind of weird. I'm gonna be walking around with this in my backpack now. Only thing about hanging out at the castle here is that it's so far away from, like, everything. Takes a day's travel to get over here from the other side of the map. But I returned the arm and got the chalice upgraded. And right away, I asked for another job, and this time I have to dress as a Dawn Guard and kill someone high profile in Windhelm. And I gotta do it in plain sight. Yeah, this one should be fun. Oh, and I did check in on the chalice to see what kind of upgrade it had, and it went from 1 day to 3 days. We have a crime to commit. This is like the 50th already, and I can see this going pretty bad. Is that person glitched up there like the mammoth was? He's gonna die, isn't he? Yeah, there he goes. Dead as a dead person. We better get this Dawn Guard outfit on. Nice, nice. Looking good. Looking like the Dawn Guard now. And I gotta plant this incriminating letter on the person we killed too. It's basically all just making the Dawn Guard look bad. Now, there's some merchants over here. The food merchants are not that great, so I picked one of those, and I got a sneak attack in to lower her health and finish her off quick. Now we have to plant the letter, and we are good to go. I just gotta run away. Guards are after me. They tried to stop me at the gate, but I resisted and jumped off the bridge into the water to escape. I've never done that quest before, and I'm having way too much fun right now. Now back to the castle to report. He seemed happy that I did all that he asked. I got a circlet of destruction that I'm probably never gonna use. Right, I am done with side quests for a minute. Let's progress this main vampire storyline a little bit. We have to find a moth priest to read Serana's scroll. I know where the moth priest is, and you can skip right to the location where he's at, but I played along and checked the innkeepers for info. I paid this innkeeper to blab about where he was heading, and he was heading to a place called Dragon's Bridge. Walking right by that town and over the Dragon Bridge itself, we will end up at this blood trail. And following it takes you to this cave where the moth priest is at. He had gotten attacked by vampires, I believe, and was now being protected by the Dawn Guard inside. You have to take out all of those Dawn Guard to get to him. And I did just that. There wasn't too many of them inside. Now we have to activate this pedestal, which will release the moth priest that is trapped. Now he is hostile towards us. I took his health down enough that he will surrender and casted vampire seduction on him to give him a bite. And now he is my thrall and will obey me. I told him to head back to the vampire's castle, and off he goes. We better get going too. Almost every time I come to the castle, there is Dawn Guard members attacking me. There's one in that tower up there right now. I'm just gonna leave him there. I will say that that did help in this playthrough, because leaving that Dawn Guard member up there, he never despawned. And it made it so no more Dawn Guards spawned in, at least at the castle, to try and attack me. The Duck Lord told me I should go tell my moth priest to read Serana's Elder Scroll, and I did just that, but what he said wasn't very helpful, because he said this is not all of the prophecy and that we need 2 more Elder Scrolls. He did mention that we need Oriel's bow, but talking to Haken again, he wasn't very pleased. He said his traitor wife stole one of them and ran off. And then I had to talk to Serana, who said she thinks she knows where we can start looking. She mentioned how she doesn't trust Haken and that she didn't want want to say anything when her father was listening. Said that we need to find her mother and that she was probably somewhere her father would never search. We came to the idea that she was still in the castle, maybe in the garden in the courtyard, because her father couldn't stand the place because it was too peaceful. So in search of Serana's mother, we went around the side of the castle to this unused inlet. It used to be used to get supplies into the castle, but now it is abandoned and is overrun by these skeleton freaks. Same deal on the inside, lots of skeletons and feral vampires as well. There's a skeever over here, take that sucker. Made it back outside and now we are in the courtyard. Now this thing in the middle has some pieces missing on the floor, and if we go around the courtyard and collect all the ones that are missing and put them back where they're supposed to be, this thing moves around and opens a secret staircase that leads us under the castle. Again, it's overrun by skeletons and gargoyles, but eventually we will make it to this room. And some reason, Serana always glitches out in this place for me. She's busy fighting thin air over here. What are you doing, huh? I tried skipping time and pushing her around, but only thing that worked was leaving the area so she would leave too. Now to head back through, and there we go. I got her into this room. This room was a place where her mother spent a lot of time, and I found a journal in here. Reading it said something about a place called the Soul Cairn. There's actually a recipe in this book that might lead us passage to the Soul Cairn itself, where Serana's mother might be hiding out. So I rushed around the room, gathering all of the stuff that we needed. Then Serana mixed all of that stuff with her vampire juice, and a portal started to open up to the Soul Cairn. Just have to pop on through this creepy looking portal to see what's going on. Now this place is pretty cool. Like I said, it's called the Soul Cairn, and it's a place where trapped souls end up. Now we have to find Serana's mother in here, but I did bump into another soul who was wanting me to find his friend called Arvak. If my gargoyle would get its big stupid head out of my way, that would be lovely. You too, Serana. We're supposed to be friends. I will try to find Arvak before we leave the Soul Cairn, don't worry. Now when it comes to enemies here, there's mostly a bunch of these weak bone men, but there are 100% tougher things here too. A place we're going is to that castle off in the distance over there. So after a nice stroll, I made it, and there is her mother trapped behind some kind of magical barrier. She panics thinking that Hakan has figured out the prophecy, but is reassured by Serana that it's not how things are. She gives me the third degree and tells me that Serana herself is the key to the tyranny of the sun, and that her blood is needed to complete the prophecy, and that she thinks Hakan would cause her harm when he finds out. She does come around and tells us she has an Elder Scroll with her, but we need to break the magical barrier to get to it. That's fine, breaking magical barriers is my middle name. It's not, it's actually Mukbite, but she doesn't need to know that. In order to take down that magical barrier, we have to go around the Soul Cairn finding 3 of these keepers to kill. Once all 3 of them are dead, that barrier will be down and we can get to Serana's mother and the Elder Scroll. They're fairly easy, they're basically like giants in the regular world of Skyrim, and they go down pretty easy with my vampire lord and gargoyles. Here is the second keeper, take it down, nice and easy. Oh, and on the way to the third one, I stumbled upon Arvak's skull. I wasn't too worried about finding it because I seem to bump into this thing every time I come to the Soul Cairn anyway. Just had to kill these bone men guarding it, and there we go. We have Arvak's skull. It's upside down, but it's a horse skull. Now all we have to do is return the skull to the soul that wanted me to find him, and he actually lets me keep Arvak to use. Arvak is a summon who is also a mount. This is likely gonna be my main mount for the game. I think it matches my character nicely. Anyway, he's trying to take down the third keeper, and I had a harder time with this one. The son of a bitch shot me right off the tower we were fighting on top of. Felt like I was falling forever. It's fine, I'm back for revenge. Knocked him off this time. That counts. He's dead, I think. Now to return to the mother, the magical barrier is down and we can pass through to her. Now she warns of a dragon called Durnavir that hangs out around the Soul Cairn, which is great. Not like I played this DLC 50 times and knew that was coming. Going through the doorway and we are almost immediately met by Durnavir. He is a rotten dragon cursed to wander the Soul Cairn. And honestly, this was the longest fight I've had with him for a long time. The Vampire Lord wasn't doing much damage to him, and I was kind of just relying on the gargoyles to do most of the damage themselves. And they did. Them, Serana, and her mother did a good job of taking it down. He is gone, which Serana's mother thinks is weird because he can't be slain by normal means and thinks the killing blow just merely displaced his physical form while he reconstitutes himself, and that he will be back. Before he could show up again, we were quick to grab the Blood Elder Scroll so we could get on our way. But leaving the area, we are met by Durnavir again, who seems nicer this time. Said that he is trapped here and wants me to speak his name in Tamriel to have him appear to fight alongside me. Yeah, we have a shout now that we can use to call him to help, which is pretty cool, but I'm not sure how often I'll use it. Not because Durnavir sucks, but because my memory sucks sometimes and I always forget it exists. Now to hop onto Arvak and get on out of here. Back through the portal and back to the castle. And now we have one last scroll to get. Serana thinks I should go ask at the College of Winterhold, but I've got some things I want to do first. Like dramatically turning into my Vampire Lord and spending a skill point. This time I'm gonna take Detect All Creatures. I can cast it, and as it says, detect all creatures, even dwarven automatrons. I admit I didn't use this skill near enough, and it does come in handy later on. I was also curious if we could glide and take no fall damage as the Vampire Lord, so I jumped off this place. And yeah, we don't. I'm dead. And my curiosity didn't stop there. We're heading off to Riften now because, again, I'm curious. We turned that man into a vampire a while back, and I was told he would be grateful if I returned to him. I have a bounty on my head there, so I went from a fast travel point that wasn't Riften and walked the rest of the way. I couldn't remember if they might just attack me on sight, so I wanted to approach the gods myself on my own terms. And they seem to have no real problem with me. I do have a bounty, but I guess it's a really small bounty. I didn't realize. I feel a little bit upset, and turning someone into a vampire in broad daylight in town, not good enough for you guys. And it was not what I was expecting. He was grateful, but nothing really worth coming here for. He just says I can use his coffin whenever I want. Been a vampire for like 2 seconds and he's already hitting on me. While on the topic of bounties, I kinda want to go to Windhelm to clear my bounty there. I know it's a big bounty here. I took someone out in the middle of the day, in the middle of the town, and here comes the guard right away. Now, I gotta say, I really regret doing this. Instead of paying the bounty, I instead opted to go to jail so I could serve my time. And you can actually pick your way out of the prison, out of jail. You can use a lockpick to open the gate, but I didn't. I instead decided to serve my time, and the time costed me a whole week. Yeah, I went from day 28 to day 35, and like I said, I regretted doing it, but with my rules at the start, with not reloading saves for any reason, and not having served my time like ever in Skyrim, I either just paid off my bounty, escaped from jail, or just avoided the guards. I didn't know it would take all of those days off me. I thought I was gonna be in jail for like a day. And that's fine. It says day 34, but we start on day 0, so this is technically my 35th day. Anyways, I'm a free man now, and I want to head on over to Winterhold to ask about the last scroll we need to find. I know where the scroll is. It's the one you get for doing the main storyline, but I kinda like playing along right now, and I want to get access to the mages in the College of Winterhold. The illusion guy, specifically. I ran on over to Ferelda, god in the bridge, who wanted me to cast the Flame Atronach spell to get access to the college. I know I had a rule to not use Atronachs, and that's still in place. I just figured this was fine. I'm not using it to fight anyone, right? And that rule, by the way, is because I like to default to Atronachs a lot, and I already have like a Conjuration playthrough where I messed around with Atronachs a lot. So again, just to make things different for me, I made that a rule, and I don't want to use them to do damage to anyone. I have no intention of doing the College of Winterhold questline. We're gonna go find the illusionist. He is in his room, sleeping like a baby. Before I wake him up, I want to spend some skill points. I have 5 of them built up now. First, I want to take Expert Illusionist. Now my expert level illusion spells cost half the magicka to cast. Secondly, I want Rage. Now my frenzy spells work on higher level opponents. Quiet Casting, which does what it says on the tin, makes it so my spells are quietly casted and nobody can hear them. That will hugely improve my sneak sneaking around. I'll take silent roll. Don't really need this one, but it's kinda cool. Now sprinting while sneaking executes a silent forward roll. Finally, I'm gonna take deadly aim. That one does absolutely nothing for us. Bows now do 3 times sneak damage. Because I'm not using bows in this playthrough, but I will get Assassin's Blade soon and switch over to daggers. And I need a deadly aim to be able to get that. I know I came here for the Elder Scroll and the Illusionist, but I spent the next 2 minutes just rolling around the college. It's the rules. Everyone does it when they get that skill. Gotta spend at least 2 minutes not being productive. Moving on to the Illusionist, I want to buy some books. The first one is the Frenzy spell. It's a stronger version of my Fury spell, and I will also take Invisibility. Now we can cast this to go invisible, and we can even pair it up with Muffle to make us super hard to detect while sneaking. It does only last for 30 seconds, so we'll have to cast it a lot. And whenever I interact with anything, like a door or I attack someone, it'll cancel out and people can see me. I went to go check out the library at the college to see about getting this last Elder Scroll. He gave me all the books he had on Elder Scrolls, and after reading them, I get sent to someone called Septimus Cygnus, who is hiding out in the ice fields behind Winterhold. Going into this weird hideout in an iceberg, you can find him. He gives you a lexicon to transcribe. Doing that will lead us to the Elder Scroll we need. One of these days, I'm gonna make a Skyrim video where I don't have to go transcribe a lexicon. Going back along the ice fields, I did stop to take out as many animals I saw to kill with the Vampire Lord, hoping to get its skill tree maxed out soon. I've been very slow about leveling it up. I really enjoyed doing this quest in this playthrough though. I'd worked on the Vampire Lord on the way, and now I kinda want some extra levels for my regular form. So the plan was to sneakily take everything out. However, that plan went out the window pretty quick because I was having way too much fun just walking past everything. Yep, this invisibility spell is making this place a cakewalk. We're still leveling up illusion and sneak, but not as much XP doing things this way, I will admit. But like I said, I'm having way too much fun, so who cares? Dwarven Centurion over there was just spinning around looking for me. Also, these guys ahead. First time I've not got involved in their situation. They're arguing and start fighting, but I just opened the secret staircase and headed into Blackreach. And again, I just snuck on by everything inside nice and easy, leveling up my sneak. It made things slightly easier that Serana is also missing all of a sudden. She's pretty good at sneaking around, but sometimes she'd like bump into stuff and get them aggroed on her. In no time at all, I made it to the place you transcribe the lexicon. It's real easy to do. You just put it in here and push the buttons until the next button becomes pushable, and bam, the Elder Scroll gets revealed, and now we can take it. That is 3 Elder Scrolls. Made it back to the castle. Serana is still missing though. Let's head on inside and give these scrolls to the Moth Priest. Except, not really. See, he read the first scroll without proper preparations, and it blinded him. He was very apologetic that he had gone blind and can't read the others, but did give me a solution. He said we have to go to an ancestor's glade to do a moth ritual that will allow me to read the scroll safely. And I made it to Falkreath, and I did stop here for a while. I wanted to hit up the merchants to sell some things and see what they had to buy. I didn't buy anything really, but I sold a lot and got a level up. Still only really putting points into Magicka. My mana pool is getting pretty big now, and I'm insanely squishy with this low health. But yeah, I took the Assassin's Blade perk now, which makes my sneak attacks with daggers do 15 times damage. My Dawn God War Axe had been doing 198 damage when I get sneak attacks with it, and now if we use this Dwarven Dagger to get sneak attacks, we'll get 210. Not a huge difference, but it's still a little bit better, and I'll go find a better dagger shortly. Not too far from Falkreath, on top of a mountain, I made it to the glade. Inside, Serana decided to make an appearance. You've been missing for like 2 days. You want to tell me where you've been? Going deeper into the glade, I found this beautiful area. This is where we can do the moth ritual to read the Elder Scroll. We have to take this knife to cut some bark off of this tree. Now the moths will be attracted to me. I had to run around collecting 7 swarms of them total to complete the ritual, and I'm dead. I thought I could make that jump. Did all of that again, then stood in the light to read the Blood Elder Scroll. Does it trigger anyone else that the Elder Scrolls don't show up in the Scrolls tab, but they go where you find the books in the book tab. Anyways, I gave it a read and was shown a map that tells me exactly where Oriel's bow is located at. That's the bow in the prophecy the Moth Priest said we would need to defeat the sun itself. I talked to Serana and told her where it was, and we are off. Now, before we go and find Oriel's bow, I'd like to get a better dagger. I don't know if I was being silly here, but I went all the way over to Solstheim, where you do the Dragonborn DLC, because I wanted to try and get one of those Stalrim daggers. With the rules that we set out, no alchemy, enchanting, or smithing, I'm not allowed to make one. I instead went to check on Mallory, who is a blacksmith, and I could have sworn he would sell them occasionally. I don't know if I have to hit a certain level requirement before they become available in his stock. I didn't see any Stalrim weapons there. Checked the general merchant as well, and nothing. I'm sure there'll be a comment or two letting me know how to get one without actually crafting one. But I think they become available with merchants eventually. Let's go back to where I know I can get an upgrade. Somewhere in this castle, I know you can get a elven dagger in a sealed case. Just have to find it inside one of these. There we go. It's in this one right here. Just gotta pick this lock and grab it. I'll be taking that. Thank you very much. It does more damage than the dwarven dagger. It's not hugely better, but it is +2 extra damage. And with the times 15 damage from sneak attack, that means sneak attacks with this dagger do 240. On the legendary difficulty, that is not much at all, but it's better than what we had, so I will take it. I'm also very aware that Serana has her own elven dagger we could have just taken, but I am not in the business of stealing my BFF's daggers. Also, why do you have so many arrows? What are you collecting arrows here? I checked around the castle to see what quests they have for me here. Like I mentioned earlier, I'd like to do all of the side quests listed on the wiki for the vampires in this DLC. I picked up a quest where there is a vampire out there looking to turn a ton of people into vampires, and we don't want that causing problems for us, so we have to go sort it out. I was hoping to get a chunk of quests from them to do while out and about, but they were all sending me to the same guy I just got that quest from. So I guess we have to do one at a time. Kinda sucks, but I made it to the place we need to be. Trying to keep a nice balance between using my normal form and the vampire lord. I use my frenzy spell and invisibility spell to slowly take everyone out outside. I'm not doing a lot of damage, but I'm letting them work on each other with a frenzy spell, and then picking off the pieces like a vulture. Inside, I turned the bandit chief on the master vampire so that he would help me kill the vampire. It looks like I'm fighting nothing, but the master vampire ran off and used an invisibility spell. After that, I took out the bandit chief and we can be on our way. Job done. Always waking people up in this game. Went to turn in the quest that I just did, and I got given a sword that I'm never gonna use. He sent me to another vampire for a job, and I really like the voice acting for this vampire.
With any luck, he'll bleed to death before anyone notices. A cold corpse will say what we want. Better than a warm one.
A lot of the voices in Skyrim are recycled. Heck, a lot of the voices all across the Bethesda games are recycled. The same people play about 500 different characters each in the same game. But this one, I don't think I've heard very much. She wanted me to go kill a traveling merchant that's secretly a Dawn Guard member, but to do it discreetly. This should be interesting. As sneaky as I am, it's kinda hard for me to kill a lot of stuff in one hit. He was hanging out in Riverwood at the Sleeping Giant Inn, and he was in plain sight too. I tried talking to him. I tried persuasion and to threaten him, but he wasn't having any of it. I don't know what I was trying to do with that. We have to kill him. Delphine was also eyeing me up too. Can you go away, please? I got her to leave me alone with the invisibility spell, and I took a swing, and I missed. And she is back. Can you get lost? I'm trying to murder someone here. Again, I backed up and took a swing when I lost her attention. Luckily, he never really seen me, and it counted as a discreet kill, just letting Serana finish him off. Turned in the quest to get absolutely no rewards. That's fine, I guess. Did get sent back to this guy to get a quest to kill another vampire for taking a bold approach to feeding and has become a nuisance. So I head out to take care of it. There's a few things in the area I want to do anyway. I ran in the cave and just stormed through with the vampire lords. It was a small cave, so it didn't take long to get to the main guy, who went down very, very easily. Now I want to head to Whiterun because I'd like a house. I know there are easier and cheaper ways to get houses in this game now, but I've never checked out this homestead outside of the city you can buy. Pretty sure sure this is a part of the anniversary edition of the game. It cost me 7,500 coin. So let's go see if that was worth it. And worth it was. Look how nice this place is. I got a place for horses over here. On the other side, there is a place for smithing, and it has everything we could need. It's gonna get dusty and never be used, but that's okay. And then inside, it's very small, but almost really grand at the same time. I love all of the red colors and stuff. This is the living room. We've got a bedroom over here with enough beds for a small vampire family. There is another room that has a alchemy and enchanting setup too. And it even has a cellar. What? You know, I'd like to know what your favorite house in the game is, including Anniversary Edition. I've not played a ton of Anniversary Edition yet, so I don't know all of the houses it adds. I'd like to know what your favorites are, so I could potentially go check them out. I also really like that it's not inside a city. I think it matches my character nicely. Alright, so speaking about little vampire families, I want one. I'm gonna get married and adopt some orphans. That is mostly why I wanted that house. The Dawn Guard are always here, hounding me. I've been avoiding them best I can, but I think we should be able to take them out without switching to the Vampire Lord now. Just gotta get a bunch of sneak attacks in to take them down. That should hopefully be it. Now into the inn at Riften to talk to this priest. You can buy an amulet of Mara from him. Now wearing this amulet will show that we are interested in someone. And if we're in good favor with them and they're a marriage candidate in the game, we can ask them to marry us. Only issue is I'm not sure who I want to marry yet. I know you can move into your spouse's house when you marry them, by the way, so we didn't have to buy a house to get married, but here we are. I sat and I thought for a while about who I wanted to marry, and I came to the conclusion that it would be funny if we took Camilla from Sven and Fandel. Yeah, the love triangle is now a love square. She's in good favor with us and is a marriage option, so this works. I asked if she was interested in me, and she was. I told her I was interested in her. But here's the catch. I'm not living in a love square. Yeah, I killed the elf first, took a cheap shot sneak attack, and let Serana do the dirty work. And I didn't get a bounty for it. Alright, so next is my old follower, Sven. I know how terrible this is. Totally ignored that first stab. Went back about his business. Leaving the Sleeping Giant Inn, I got my mail and had a letter from Camilla. I was kinda concerned that the wedding would be off already, but I looked at it and look what it says. Bite McBiteface, I know you killed him. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. In fact, I wanted to thank you. You will not be missed. Camilla. This is perfect. What a good choice I made. I'm gonna head to Riften and marry that lady. We said our vows and got married. I told her we should live at the homestead I just bought. She is heading off there now. And I went back to the castle to turn in the quest we did earlier. And I went to find this guy, who is supposed to be the vampire that gives you a quest to turn your spouse into a vampire, but he wasn't giving it to me yet. The wiki says that he might not if I haven't done the other side quests around the castle, and I believe there's a way you can just turn your spouse into a vampire without doing this, but since I want to do all of the side quests in this DLC, I'm just gonna wait and do it that way. I know there's some that unlock after you beat the main prophecy quests too, so I decided we'll just go find the Oriel's bow and continue with that for now. We're gonna go to Dragon's Bridge and head to the location Oriel's bow is located. Oh, there's a dragon. Just gonna go invisible and walk off. Leave the people here to deal with it. Or not. Somehow the dragon creeped up on me when I was trying to kill some wolves. Nearly killed me too. Just used some healing potions I'd found. Then I actually did sneak off. This is the place we start to look for Oriel's bow, a cave not far from Dragon's Bridge. Oh, it's a heck of a ride along the way. It might be the most lengthy quest you do in the DLC. Takes us all over. First, we drop down into this rushing water that takes us through caves of spiders and dumps us out. Quickly turned into a vampire lord to take down those spiders. Thought I was being smart here, triggering this trap and backing off, but the rocks that fell behind me. And yeah, I felt pretty stupid, not gonna lie. Snuck past some trolls to make it to this snow elf garden something. Figured I was here for Oriel's bow and said he could help me get to it, but I'd need to help him kill his brother. He says the Falmer had done something to change him and that he needs to be taken down. He talked me through what to do, said I had to go around collecting water from these things to eventually make it to his brother, but it's going to be a bit of a trek. There are 5 water basins total we need to visit. So I went through the portal that takes you to another cave. I remember thinking these plants were cool the first time I played through this part. I got a level fighting this bug. I put a point into sneak. that's 4 out of 5 down for that perk. Should be a bit harder to detect again. And I took advantage of that. I just snuck past all of these Falmer. I made it to this glow-in open cave. It's got some really nice looking deer. Some large cats too that I managed to avoid. I made it to another basin we have to collect water at. Once I got that done, I headed on through to the next portal. This one takes me to another cave, but this one leads up to the surface. And now we are in the Forgotten Vale. Again, I snuck around basically all of this place. And I got to the next basin pretty quickly. Filled her up and headed off. Let's roll on through the valley and we got this very nice view. But going along the left, we get to the next basin. Take some of the water and just a few left to go. It didn't take long to get to the next one either. Fill that up and there is a really cool double dragon fight you can do over there on those ice fields. They break out of the ice to ambush you, and as fun as that can be, I'm going to stick to avoiding things best I can for now. So I'm gonna turn around and keep going. I had to pass through this massive area that Falmer had built bridges and homes over. And yeah, I just snuck past every single one of them. So many enemies, and I didn't really kill any of them. Eventually, I made it to the final basin. Now that we have that water, we can enter the inner sanctum and get Oriel's bow. There it is, the inner sanctum. Just have to cross this bridge and put the water in this basin that we'd collected previously. Water will run all along the floor and open up this door. And now we can head on in and confront that snow elf's brother and get Oriel's bow. He wasn't too happy to see me, and there was a bunch of frozen enemies around that he broke free to attack me. They were very easy to kill with the vampire lords. He then started to bring down the ceiling though, which was a bit of an issue. I can't fight back against the ceiling, and it did manage to kill me pretty quickly. Second attempt, taking down the ice monsters, and I did manage to avoid the ceiling this time. I even got a level for my vampire lords. I'm gonna spend it on Corpse Curse. It gives me a spell that allows me to paralyze targets. Looks like he's had enough of our nonsense though, and he blows up the whole building we're inside of. Yeah, Jerk's got me down, but we're not out yet. Me and Serana follow him, and it turns out he is a vampire, and he is the one controlling the Falmer, not the other way around. And he breaks free of Serana, and we have a fight on our hands. However, it wasn't really a hard fight. With me, Serana, and my 2 gargoyles, he went down pretty easily. Honestly, the moments building up to the fight were a lot cooler than the fight itself. He had an enchanted elven dagger. I think that will replace the one I've been using. The new one does ice damage. The brother turned up at the basin where we killed that snow elf. I had a brief chat with him, but now we can grab Oriel's bow. It's a pretty cool bow. It does 20 points of sun damage, and undead targets take triple damage. I'm not really gonna use it to do damage to anything since I'm not using bows, but I will need that later when we confront Haken. Talking to Serana, we agree that we need to confront Haken with it because he would betray us the first chance he gets, and he can't complete the prophecy. But she can wait because I got some stuff I want to do. I need to clear out my inventory. It's full of junk to sell, so I stopped by Whiterun to hit up all of the merchants there and bought this robe too. It's better than mine. It works for cheaper conjuration and illusion spells, and my magicka will regen 100% faster. It also looks really cool. My hood is a little tacky, but I think this looks great. My weight is also insanely low, so that's nice. I went back to my new homestead to check the wife made it okay, and she did. She has a passive income for me now because she runs a shop. Every day I'll get 100 coin from her, and I can buy and sell things to her too. Oh, I did keep Fendel and Sven's outfits to display. A little twisted, but what can I say? Right, so I'd like to get my Vampire Lord skill tree maxed out before I face Haken. So let's do this quest right here in an attempt to grind them out. It's just a random side quest I picked up, but it has the word blood in the name, so I thought it fit. Heading into the cave to retrieve an item, and these guys are very, very weak. I tried not to use my gargoyles so they didn't steal the kills so much, and I got to progress the skill tree that way. It only counts if I get the kill. Didn't take long before I got another Vampire Lord perk. I'm gonna take Mist Form. It's a night power that transforms me into an invulnerable mist while health, magicka, and stamina can regenerate. Got the item for the quest I needed, and it looks like I picked up that quest from the docks outside Windhelm. Must have grabbed it when I was trying to travel to Solstheim earlier. Turned in the quest and got 1,000 coin. Nice. What is next? Maybe this guest guests for dinner quest. This might be vampire related, I think. I have to go to a place called Blood Chill Cave to attend a banquet. There's a Spriggan and Troll fighting outside. I'm just gonna let them sort out their differences and sneak by. Made it to the cave, and inside I can tell this is related to vampires already. Walked past the guests and straight to the waiter, who took me to my table. There was a note to read out loud, which I didn't pay attention to. Okay, now we eat this guy. Oh, and now it's kicking off. The Dawn Guard turned up to crash the party and everything. I didn't use my Vampire Lord form here. I just let everyone take each other out. After they were all dead, I talked to the waiter and he gave me the key to this place. And well, now I'm torn because this place is great and fits my character a lot more than the homestead. It's got a smithing room over here, a bedroom for orphans, amazing bedroom for myself with enchanters and alchemy tables. Oh, and the coffins. Yeah, I've decided I'm moving here. I'm back at the old house now, and look how small this chest is. Gotta stop getting distracted though. I told Camilla that we should move and sent her to Blood Chill Cave, which is the new house we were just at. Said my goodbyes to the house and made sure to grab Fandel and Sven. Doesn't look like the wife made it yet, but I'm sure she will. I'm gonna put Sven and Fandel here. Now I want to fill out the house some more. I'm gonna go adopt a couple of orphans. I know there's one at Whiterun called Lucia. She has a sad story she talks about. Says her mother died and her aunt and uncle took over their farm and threw her out. I said I'd adopt her and sent her to Blood Chill Cave. I know there's a boy in Dawnstar you can adopt, but I've not been there yet, so I'm gonna go to Windhelm and adopt Sophia. She wants you to buy some flowers she is selling so she can afford to buy food. But when I said I would buy some, she had no flowers for sale, just 25 baskets. I will take one, you little scam artist. She said her mama died when she was little and her dad was a Stormcloak soldier that never came home one day. So I said I'd adopt her and again sent her to Blood Chill Cave. I went to check on them all and everyone is here now. There is Lucia coming to greet me. Wife is hanging out over here. And there is Sophia. I got curious about Lucia's aunt and uncle who supposedly kicked her out of her parents' farm. There is absolutely no proof by the looks of things, but from what I've been reading, it's perfectly valid theory that this farm to the north of Whiterun is the one she was kicked out of. Approaching the farm, you meet Cicero, whose carriage has broken down on the road. He's a jester that you can learn more about by doing the Dark Brotherhood questline. And up at the farm, you can find this guy who wants the jester gone because they are suspicious of what is in the carriage. Now, there's two things you can do here. One, you can convince him to help Cicero fix his cart. Or go along with this guy wanting Cicero to get lost. If you go along with what he wants, you can report Cicero for a crime he didn't commit, and the guard will have him arrested. And I did just that because after a while now, you will find the people that own the farm dead. The jester Cicero will eventually kill them for revenge. And that is a good enough outcome for me. I did pick the lock on their door and went in to investigate. Found a child's doll in the chest at the end of this bed, which was suspicious. I took it and I will give it back to Lucia, assuming it's hers. One thing about Skyrim as well is that some NPCs are classed as important, and if you try to take them down yourself, they will just not die. And the people at this farm are also classed as important by the looks of things online, so I can't do anything about it myself. We just have to get Cicero to do it for us. I returned home to find Lucia outside, and I gave her the doll. I went from causing chaos as the Vampire Lord to buying flower baskets in Windhelm. Yeah, I went a little off track, but I am back to it now. Trying to get the last levels for my Vampire Lords. Took advantage of Detect Life as well, trying to find some things to kill. It's a really good spell that I should have taken advantage of more, but I really didn't use it very much. Helped me spot that skeever easily. Heading on into this cave where there are spiders to kill and lots of Falmer. And finally, on the 55th day, I got the final level I needed and spent it on supernatural reflexes. And that is every single Vampire Lord skill unlocked. Nice. First time ever for me. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to take down Lord Harkin, and spoilers, I wasn't up for the test yet. See, I confronted him and he didn't deny he would kill me down the line. Then a fight broke out, but you have to keep on this guy on legendary difficulty. Well, on any difficulty really, but on legendary difficulty, I'm doing so little damage here. Leaving him alone for too long will let him heal all of his health back. But I was just not doing enough damage to him as the Vampire Lord with Saran, myself, and the two gargoyles. His healing was outdoing the damage I could do. And when it comes to my normal form, Yeah, I am not equipped for hand-to-hand fighting yet. It's gotta be doable as the Vampire Lord on Legendary difficulty, right? I think if I kept on him enough with my claws, I could get him. But I wasn't confident in how good I was at using the Vampire Lord yet. So instead, I left. Yeah, we're gonna work on ourselves a little and go back. I went to Solitude since it was nearby, and I bought the Strangulation spell. It's a destruction spell, and that's the skill tree we're gonna be working on a little before we go back and fight him again. I've also never really messed around with the lifesteal spells that got added during the anniversary edition of the game, so I'm eager to give them a go. And if they're no good for fighting Harkin, then we could just switch over to fire spells. He is weak to fire. Just gonna grind up destruction with these lifesteal spells since it matches my character nicely. It's a slightly better version of the Vampiric Drain spell that I've not been using. I went ahead and joined the Imperial Legion. Just a quest line to quickly work through to grind destruction up. I really could not care less about Stormcloaks versus Imperials in this playthrough. They are sending me to clear a fort by myself, which took a while. I do barely any damage, but I did get a lot of levels into destruction, so that's good. The enemies also bounce when they die to the Strangulation spell, which is really, really cool. I got destruction up to level 28 and took Novice and Apprentice destruction, so those spells are cheaper to cast. I returned to Tullius to report and got sent to get the Jagged Crown before the Stormcloaks do. One of the reasons I picked to do this quest line to level destruction is that there is a lot of Imperials with me. Lots and lots of cannon fodder in this storyline, and I feel very safe. Ran through the dungeon looking for the Jagged Crown until I found it on top of this Droga's head. My destruction is leveling up real fast, and down they all go. And there is the crown we need to take. I did run over to the College of Winterhold to train my destruction while I was nearby. I trained 10 levels total, then bought the Hangman's new spell and Fireball. Then I spent my skill point on Adept Destruction so that I can cast them easier. Oh, I also bought these Expert Robes of Destruction. They regen magicka faster than my other robes and obviously fit for destruction better. I will switch between the two when I need them. Now back to Solitude to return the crown. I'm not gonna finish the Civil War quest line, by the way. Like I said, I'm just using them for levels. I'm gonna ditch them as soon as I get the chance. I was told to go to the Jarl of Whiterun with a letter. The letter said the Ulfric Stormcloak planned on attacking the city, and the Jarl wasn't too sure about it, so he gave me an axe to give to Ulfric himself. And I took the axe to Windhelm to offer to Ulfric, but he didn't accept it, which isn't good. Also, I kinda love that my health during the day is a whopping 40. Yep. I'm so squishy, and I refuse to add any points into it. I'm all magicka. Oh, I put a point into destruction dual casting as well on day 59. Now, dual casting spells with both hands will create a more powerful version of that spell. And I headed on back to Whiterun to give the Jarl his axe back. Turns out the Stormcloaks were right behind me, and now Whiterun is under attack. I met Ricky at the gate while she was hyping up the Imperials, and now we have to defend Whiterun. I love these Civil War defend or conquer quests. You have to kill enough of the other side to get the percentage down to 0, and I find it very satisfying just watching it slowly trickle down. Not as satisfying as when they get shot into the sky by my drain life spells though. This is awesome. The Hangman's new spell I just bought is the exact same as the Strangulation spell, but it just does more damage. But there has to be a balance. While on the topic of awesome things, some terrible things happened. I got the percentage down to 0, and I glitched out and teleported into the sky to be dropped to my death. That has never happened to me before. And you know what? I'm actually not gonna complain. I love this quest and I take the chance to do it again any day. There we go. We are done. Now to return back to General Tullius, and I was given a sword. I'm never gonna use it, and was told to help regain the Pale. I also got my illusion to level 100 on day 60. And I know what you're thinking. No, I was not spamming Muffle to get to level 100. I made it a legendary skill which resets it for further leveling and gives all of the perks I spent on it back, which I'm actually gonna redistribute into some other things for now. I'm gonna go into the destruction skill tree and take Impact. That will make it so when I cast dual level destruction spells, it will stagger my opponents. And I'll also take Augmented Flames 1, that'll make my fire spells do more damage. And I'll start flowing the skill points back into illusion slowly when I get my illusion leveled back up. Now to go report to Ricky about taking over the Pale in the field. Now this quest is a bit of a step down from the cool one we just did. We have to go get some Stormcloak documents to tamper with. Have to go into this inn around the rift and ask about a Stormcloak courier. With some light intimidating, he lets me know they are on their way back to this inn. Instead of waiting for the Stormcloak to come back, I met them halfway and took the Stormcloak down. Then I took the documents and returned it to Ricky to forge them. I'm running around like crazy at the minute. Had to go to the commander in Dawnstar to deliver the forged documents. Looks like the Muppet bought what it said. That's good. Alright, it's time to do the final quest before I go and leave these guys for good. This time we have to go take Fort Dunsted. I went and met with the Imperials and stormed the fort. Same deal as when we defended Whiterun, but this time we are on the attack inside. Used my spells to throw the Stormcloaks around until they were all gone. Like I said, I am done with these quests. See, I got my destruction up to level 60 and took Augmented Flames 2. That's also all I'm doing in the destruction tree too. Should be all that we need. I even went and trickled some more of my leftover points back into what we had in Illusion. And I quickly went back to Solitude, not for the Civil War business, but to go to the alchemy shop to buy some potions to help with the Harken fight. Then I returned to once again confront Lord Harken. Let's see how this goes with a plan this time. It's a patchy plan, but a plan is a plan. I'm gonna turn into the Vampire Lord and summon gargoyles. Then I will quickly switch back into my normal form to use my dagger. But I'm gonna put this poison on it that makes enemies weaker to fire. I'm not 100% sure if that does anything to Harken, but I did it anyway. Now I will take this elixir of destruction that I bought, which makes my destruction spells do 50% more damage for 60 seconds. And I blasted him with a fireball. I didn't even use my Hangman's New spell. And that does a pretty big chunk of damage. I'd also been building up some random magicka potions too from the stores and just looting around, but I can regain my mana pool quickly and keep on him. If you leave him alone for too long, he's gonna heal up like crazy. Does sometimes go back to the middle of the room to heal up. He's got like this big ball thing around him. And if you shoot him with Oriel's bow, it stops his healing. Got him to go into the middle for the first time, and I died. Something hit me from behind, but I feel like I can do it now. I repeated what I did the first time and managed to stop his healing with the bow. This fight was very overwhelming the first few attempts with this character. I was pushing the wrong buttons and messing up, and this death was totally on me. Lost my head that time, and I was making mistakes. Third time's the charm. Again, just repeating what I was doing. I seem to be doing well this time, keeping my composure. He kept going invisible, and I'm not really sure if I was doing any damage to him here while he was. Everything seemed to be going right through him. I kept stopping to pop potions I bought, and eventually, with enough stopping his healing and running around like a headless chicken, we did it. Down he goes, and that was the most crazy Harken fight I've ever done. I told Serana that she should come on more adventures with me too, and then I looted her father's red mushy corpse. As much as Harken is very much dead, I'm not done with business back at the castle yet, but I do however want to work on the restoration skill tree. I've neglected it hugely, and there's a lot here we could use, like the recovery spell that makes my magicka regenerate much faster. The biggest one might be Necromage. All spells are more effective against undead. If I went the whole playthrough without getting Necromage, I feel like I would get told off so much in the comments. Another big one that would be useful to a vampire is Respite. Healing spells restore stamina, and considering that my stamina doesn't regenerate during the day, yeah, this one could be really useful. So I went to the court wizard in Solitude, who is a vampire too, and I bought the Turn Lesser Undead spell. This spell is going to be really good for leveling up my restoration skill, and I'm actually gonna take that spell over to Bleak Falls Burrow because all of the enemies there should have respawned by now, and they have plenty of bandits around here to make bounce. This is the most satisfying thing I've ever done. Anyways, I headed on inside and went deep enough to start finding Droga. I left Serana back a little bit just so she doesn't fight them, and then I spammed Turn Lesser Undead on these guys. If you're curious what the spell is used for, if I cast it on undead that are level 6 or lower, then they will flee for 30 seconds. I'm not too worried about what it does, I'm just worried about getting my restoration up, so I spammed it a bunch. I'm gonna take the Novice and Apprentice Restoration spell skills. Now those kinds of spells will be easier to cast. And I went back to spamming on this poor Droga. Spent some more skill points, I took Recovery 1, now my magicka regenerates 25% faster. I also took Regeneration. This is a very good skill. However, considering my health is always so insanely low, during the day it's 40 outside, I'm not gonna have have very much to heal, right? I guess it's gonna pair nicely with the stamina regen, but if I'm getting hit by most things, I'm gonna die. But I do have to take that to eventually get to the Necromage perk. My pet Droga had enough and ran straight into a trap. Why did you go ahead and do that, huh? Sucker's not getting away from me that easily. I used Reanimate Corpse and he's back. I'm gonna get all that I can out of you. Sadly, Reanimate Corpse only lasts for a little bit and it can only be used one time per enemy because now he is dust. I don't think I can bring that back. I've seen a Reddit post online that said something like it will take 10 minutes to get to restoration level 100 doing it this way. And I was like, nah, I doubt it. But this has taken like not as much time as I thought it would take. I'm already at level 50 and I'm gonna take Adept Restoration and Respite. For now, I'm gonna leave so we can get a better spell to level up quicker. I went to Whiterun to check Farengar and Dragon Reach, but he didn't have any spells I wanted. I figured it would be a safe bet to head to the College of Winterhold to hit up the Restoration Mage there. I bought the Repel Lesser Undead and Turn Undead spells. Oh, and I'll also take Close Wounds for my new main healing spell, because I totally have 150 points of health to heal. Now, Repel Lesser Undead works on lower level undead than the Turn Undead spell, but if you look at it, it can hit more than one enemy. It's like a wave where you can hit multiple at once, versus the Turn Undead can only hit one at a time, I believe. Now to return to Bleak Falls, and yeah, this is awesome. I've got 4 of them lined up and we are getting the levels fast. I got to level 70 in no time and I'm gonna take Necromage and Recovery too. Now we do a ton of damage to these undead. The guy at the end of the dungeon died in 3 hits from Hangman's Noose, which is nice for a character that went from doing like no damage. Let's go loot the place and... crap. I'm just gonna go get Serana and leave. It's day 66 and I want to go pay a visit to that farm to see if Cicero is taking care of the owners. Cicero is still here and I don't see them outside. But yeah, they are very much alive inside their house. I tried to kill them, but like I said earlier, they can't die. At least by my hands, we're gonna have to wait a little longer. I'd say starting the Dark Brotherhood quests might make Cicero kill them so he can move on to that quest. I might do that later, but for now, we have a traveling pilgrim to kill that's a Dawn Guard member in disguise. Found her in Riverwood. The vampires want me to do it discreetly. So I took a swing and let Serana kill her, which I think worked. So I went and turned in and everything seemed good. I keep trying to get the gift quest from this guy to turn my spouse into a vampire, but he keeps sending me away to other people. Garen did ask me if I wanted to get the passage to the courtyard restored. That's pretty cool. I said yes. I don't think I've ever done that. And I got another quest that I've already done. Looking to get a few more that they haven't given me yet. I have to go kill another person in Windhelm. Which I did. I picked another merchant that doesn't sell much, but I sneak attacked him and nobody's seen me do it. Which is gonna have to do. I don't get a bounty this way, but the vampires won't be happy with me. Oh, I gotta plant the incriminating letter. Turned in, and yeah, he was not happy, but it will be fine. I checked to see if the courtyard passage had been cleared yet. And yeah, this place was full of rubble before, but now we can go down here and access the courtyard. Nice. I had no idea that was even a thing you could do. Oh, Garen does give me a quest that I've not done yet. This one is to kill all of the Dawn Guard leaders, which should be fun. I went to Riften, and from there I rode out to Fort Dawn Guard. I might have been able to just fast travel right to it, but I wasn't sure if I'd get spawn killed by doing it that way. So I was trying to approach the fort quietly, but I was spotted by one of them. I turned into a vampire lord and got a stupid bounty for doing it. The way bounties work in Skyrim is that you can kill all witnesses to remove the bounties. And I tried, but it never went away. I killed everyone outside of the fort, but that's okay, I guess. I'll deal with that later if it becomes a problem for us. I went inside and I started blasting. These are all the important members of the Dawn Guard. Isran is in there somewhere too. With me, Serana, and the 2 gargoyles, it made short work of all of them. Now I'm hoping that stops the Dawn Guard from randomly turning up and attacking me too. I'm not sure. I looted them and left. Job done. I went home to celebrate. I took a set of their armor from them, and I'm gonna display it on one of these armor stands in front of my bed. Yeah, that looks good. Nice. I totally use that bed, and I will see it all of the time. Yeah, that was a lie. It's been 71 days, and I've still not slept. Now to return and give the vampires the good news that the Dawn Guard leaders are all dead. Oh, I finally got the quest to turn my spouse into a vampire. Vingalmo says me being married might cause problems and said I should offer her our gift. So I went back home again and waited for the kids to leave the room. Then I used vampire seduction to calm her and bit her on the neck. She's pretty confused, but we'll be fine. I'm gonna leave her powers grow for now and head back to this guy. Now I think that this is all of the quests done here. At least one time. You can redo a lot of the quests, like right now he wants me to turn another person into a vampire, but I've already done that one, so I'm fine just to leave that there. I didn't leave it very long before going back home to check on my spouse. Wanted to see if she had turned fully into a vampire yet, and yeah, it looks like she has. The eyes don't seem as bright as mine, but they are definitely vampire eyes. I wonder if it's because it's not been very long. After like a few more days, maybe they'll be brighter. I'm not sure. She seems happy to be a vampire though. I found a helmet online that I wanted to try and get. I had to go to Gallows Rock, and if we go over to this pond to go into this building called Gallows Hall, the place has a pretty cool quest attached to it. You pick up this note and then get assaulted by floating items around the room hitting you. I had to read these clues on the table and work out what torches to pull from the wall. I won't read all of the note, but it was pretty easy to solve. Now we have to pick up this staff over here. It reanimates a body permanently to fight for you, which does sound really awesome. I raised this skeleton and took a key from its inventory. Now that key opens a safe in the room that has the helmet I came here for. It looks very interesting, and conjuration spells cost 25% less to cast, as well as damage against the undead is increased by 25%. And it looks, I can't make up my mind on it. It would look awesome with something like Dragon Bone armor on. Oh, it looks pretty cool with my conjuration illusion robe. Oh no, yeah, I kinda love it. Now I had to find out how to enter the dream world. I've already got the helmet I came here for, but I might as well finish up the quest while I'm here. It took me a minute to figure out how to enter the dream world, but I did it by resting at the sleeping bag. Yeah, that was my first sleep I've had in a long time. Now we have to collect the free soul gems around the room. I'm not sure why. I should be paying more attention, but I'm too hyped up about my new helmet. I found them all and placed them here, and then bam, we are done. And I believe this place is mine now. It's my third home, but I don't think I will really be using it. I looked around and found another cool helmet. It looks real cool, but the enchants are all based around stamina, and I think the other one is better for me. I also found out you can use this thing in the basement by putting certain items on plates, and you can spawn in different summons. I got the most basic one, a bone man. There are some other summons you can make, and this guy is definitely the weakest, but I don't have the stuff to make the best one at the minute. And I was also curious if I could use my gargoyles still. I spawned them in to see if it cancels him out, and nope, I can have him with the gargoyles. And again, I think he matches my character pretty well. I'm also wondering if I can reanimate something permanently with this staff along with the bone man and the gargoyles, maybe? No? Okay, yeah. I probably won't be using it then, since I use the gargoyles pretty often. I went back to my cave house to store that other helmet and empty out some other bits like Harkon's sword I'm still carrying around. Then I headed on into Whiterun to sell some other things, and I noticed my health was extremely low. My health and stamina is 6 points right now. Yeah, that is insanely low, and I wasn't quite sure at the time what was doing it. I was very confused, and I might be wrong, but I think it might be the Necromage perk. Since I'm a vampire, I'm technically undead. The Necromage perk works on me too. The additional undead damage effects might also affect things like my vampire powers. Since I lose health during the day, I'm 99% sure that during the day I get additional health loss now. And I'm not too sure if the new helmet I just got will also add to that. And while I've not really been too worried about my health pool in this playthrough, the big problem is the constant heartbeat sound, and my screen kind of pulsates. But to feed in or using a potion of blood will make me totally fine. It's not any other disease I have, so that's why it makes me think it's the Necromage perk. I'm not sure. Let me know if I'm wrong. Like I said, this is my first time really playing through as a vampire properly. I'm sure I've done a good few things wrong. Anyways, I took a stroll over to the farm again to see if the couple there are dead yet. Looks like Cicero is still here, and so are they. You know what? Maybe we do have to do the Brotherhood questline. I'm not sure. Let's just go do that anyway to speed things up. I want to make sure that couple are gone before the end of the video. To start it, we have to head over to Windhelm. We find this dark elf and a kid who are talking about how another kid is trying to summon the Dark Brotherhood. So, picking the door to go into the house, you find him doing just that. But he thinks that his trying to summon them worked and that I am a member of the Dark Brotherhood. He wants someone called Grelog the Kind killed in Riften. She runs the orphanage he was sent to, and she's not very nice. So I accepted the Dark Brotherhood's contract, and we better go sort her out. Into Riften's orphanage, and there she is. Take that, sucker. Always the most satisfying kill in the whole game. Now returning to Windhelm to give the good news. He seemed happy and he gave me a family heirloom as a reward. It's a plate, if you're curious. Now we just have to wait for our mail because we will get a letter from the Dark Brotherhood. I went to check some stores to kill time. I didn't find much I wanted. So I went to Whiterun to do the same thing, and eventually the mailman turned up. I'm terrible for wanting the courier to show up, and when he does, I just run away from him. Does anyone else do this? I'm on a stall roof. The jerk could reach me from here though. Gave me my mail, and there is the angry hate mail from the Dark Brotherhood. I'm gonna go and rent a room while I'm here at the inn and sleep. Doing that will get you kidnapped by Astrid from the Dark Brotherhood. Says I stole a Dark Brotherhood contract and I owe them a kill. I had to find out which of the 3 people in this shack have a contract on them. I questioned them, which is something I don't normally do, but you get some speech levels doing it because of some of the dialogue options you can do. This guy is a mercenary that says he might have gone too far at times. I'm not sure what's going on with this lady, but she's kinda rude. This Khajiit seems like trouble too. Pretty ballsy and open about how he's on the dark side. I did want to pick one. I did, but I did what I always do and I took them all out. No heroes in this room, and I talked to Astrid. She was pleased and gave me an invitation to join the family. Leaving the shack, it looks like we got taken all the way over by Solitude. The nerve on these kidnappers. There's a few reasons why I want to do the Dark Brotherhood questline. Obviously, there's the Cicero one. I want to move him along. Can also get a weapon called the Blade of Woe. I could have already got it. I could have taken out Astrid in that shack and just taken it. But we'll get it later anyway if we just do the questline. So here we are. I made it to the Black Door. Behind the door is the Dark Brotherhood sanctuary down by Falkreath. The Black Door allowed me to enter, and I was met by Astrid inside, who gave me a set of Dark Brotherhood gear. I'm not gonna wear all of it, but there's a lot of good stuff here. I don't need to wear the shrouded armor. My chest piece works better for me, but I am gonna wear the shrouded boots. I'm not sure if it works out better than the hide boots of sneaking I've been wearing, but we will see. I don't need the cowl. I've not been using bows. The gloves though. The gloves are great. Lets my backstabs do double damage. So with the 15 times sneak attacks, that will bring me up to 30 times. Should have gotten these so much sooner. If you really think about it, I've only really done the Dawn Guard DLC, so there's still a lot of game to go. Oh, and the 2 pieces I'm choosing to wear look pretty good on my character as well. I had to talk to someone called Nazir to get a few contracts. I got 3 people we gotta go take down. First one was in Iverstand to take out this homeless guy. Then over by Windhelm to take down this guy who is camping near the city. Finally, off to Dawnstar for the toughest one because there's lots of people around. Now what I like to do is I swing to kill and I open my map right away. Doing that, we can fast travel, and that makes it so we don't get a bounty. Now inside the sanctuary, you will find Cicero has made it with the Night Mother. I talked to Astrid, who gave me a solid contract, and then had a word with Cicero.
Oh, but you didn't help poor Cicero. You helped the stupid farmer, stupid Lorius. Oh, the god said cruel things about us, untrue things.
Yeah, so now he should have killed the people at the farm. He's not very happy with me, but that's okay. Hardly anyone ever is. But before leaving, I turned in the other 3 contracts to Nazir for 600 coin apiece. That is a huge 1,800 coin for killing those 3 people very easily. Day 82, and I went to check on the farm, and yeah, they are no longer with us. I threw them on the table, and I left. Happy days. We're off to Markov to get on with Astrid's contract. Someone in the alchemist shop has a problem with an ex-partner, and it's this lady. She wants him gone now, as well as another woman. The woman is optional and not a part of the deal, but if I do it, I will get more coin. I'm gonna do the optional one too, since it's near the main guy I gotta kill. She is in Windhelm, out in the open, but again, taking her down and opening the map to fast travel real quick, it means I can get away with it pretty easy. Now we are off to some dwarven ruins where the guy is hanging hanging out, and I got backstabs on a lot of people here, including the guy with the contract on his hands. There is more to this place, but I'm just gonna leave to turn in the quest. Return to the lady that gave me the contract, and I got 1,000 coin as well as her ring. It's a nice enchanted ring, but I'm not doing alchemy in this playthrough, so it's useless to me. Back to the Dark Brotherhood to tell Astrid, who was pleased but also worried Cicero was planning something. She heard him whispering around the Night Mother, and she wants me to hide in the Night Mother's coffin to listen in on his whispering. So I went and unlocked the Night Mother's bed, and I got freaked out like I always do. This is weird as heck, but going in with the Night Mother, we hear Cicero trying to talk to her.
What about you? Hmm? Have you spoken to anyone? No? No, of course not. I do the talking, the stalking, the seeing, and the saying.
After a while, the Night Mother will eventually talk to me. Tells me to journey to a place called Vollenrung to speak to Amand Montier. And then Cicero finds me and again is not very happy with me. Kinda, sorta, not really. Comes around after finding out the Night Mother spoke to me. I told Astrid that Cicero wasn't up to anything, and I told her what the Night Mother told me. For now, she wanted me to talk to Nazir about getting more contracts while she thinks about what to do next. And I did. I got 2 contracts from him. Oh, and there's also a fellow vampire here. This is Babette. Babette. I don't know how to say it. And I had no idea she was a merchant too. Anyways, the first target is at this lumber mill by Falkreath. It's owned by a couple of vampires, and the guy inside has the contract on his head. I got a sneak attack on him and left. Next, we have to go to this place that's still having dragon troubles. I tried to help this time, but it killed me so quick I didn't have time to think. So the second time, I instead ignored the dragon and went off to the inn to take out the target. He was in this room alone, so I took him down quickly while nobody was around. Back at the Dark Brotherhood now, and Astrid said that we should go talk to Amand Montier in Vollenrung, just like Night Mother said. Before I do that, I'm gonna go turn in my jobs at Nazir, get some coin, and I'm gonna spend some perk points. Gonna get my quiet casting back. Not sure we'll be able to max out this skill tree now. Levels are coming pretty slow with this build. I trotted on down to the crypt we had to go to for the big contract, and inside I met with Amand Montier, who said he wanted me to kill the Emperor. All of this would be to increase in the ranks himself. He gave me a letter for Astrid and an amulet and says that it should cover some expenses. I went and took it to Astrid, and she wants the amulet appraised by someone in the Thieves Guild called Delvin, who has a history with the Dark Brotherhood. Now, I've not been to the Ragged Flagon where the Thieves Guild hang out yet, so we have to fight our way through the Radways. I say fight, I just backstabbed everyone I seen. Delvin wasn't pleased at first to see someone turned up uninvited. I'm not thrilled to be in the sewers either, you jerk, but ended up happy to hear Astrid had sent me. I showed him the amulet, and he said he would buy it, but gave a letter of credit that only Astrid can use. She was happy with the appraisal and said, I'm ready to begin the contract. There's actually a line of contracts we have to do that will lead us to the Emperor. And first things first, we're off to a wedding in Solitude. The bride oversees the East Empire Company's business holdings in Solitude, where the wedding is taking place, and her death will cause an uproar, says Astrid. Holding a dagger right now, and she seems happy as can be. I'm gonna get a bonus if I take her down while she's giving a speech on a balcony. So I took a seat and I waited, but it wasn't long before they got up to go make their speech. I followed to the balcony and I took a stab. I've never opened the map to fast travel so fast in my life. So much back and forth going on, and back at Sanctuary, Astrid seemed happy and says, with that, we have started the Brotherhood down a path they have not been down in centuries, to assassinate the Emperor. It'd be a real shame if someone was to betray us, right, Astrid? Next, we're off to another member called Gabriella, so we can get my next contract. She says the Emperor's arrival in Skyrim is now a certainty, and its security services will have to begin its preparations immediately. We're gonna break the man that's handling security, called Commander Maro, to cripple the Emperor's protection by taking down his son and planting false evidence on him that says he was in on a plot to kill the Emperor. Boy, do I hope some blonde lady doesn't betray us all. There's the father and son bonding. We're gonna kill that guy. Maybe not. Maybe some slaughterfish will get him. My bonus comes from not killing him on the road and not killing him in Dragon's Bridge, where he starts his journey. Instead, we should wait for him to get to a city. And I was going to, okay, but I didn't. I killed him on the road. Planted this incriminating letter on him, and we are good to go. It's fine. They'll find him. Maybe. Who knows? Gabriella met me at the door and wasn't best pleased with me taking him down on the road. And there has also been an incident. Cicero lashed out and gave this Argonian a poke. And not the fun kind of poke. Astrid wanted me to check his room and I found his journal that said he was going to an old Dark Brotherhood sanctuary in Dawnstar. Astrid also let me take her horse. This creepy looking thing. Now with this thing and Arvak we have 2 mounts to choose between. I passed just by Dawnstar to the old sanctuary in the mountain. Found Astrid's husband who chased Cicero but got hurt. I headed on through to the sanctuary and I started getting shouted at by Cicero. We found some jester's clothes, which I think would look really cool on my character. It has some really nice enchantments, but I will be losing a lot of my magic enchants by using it, obviously. I could just use a few pieces, but I really like the way it looks. The gloves and boots have the same enchants as the Dark Brotherhood set. Still get the double backstab and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna use this for now. The same clothes that Cicero is wearing, but it's not as enchanted. Like the enchantment Cicero has on his pair is a little bit better than mine. But we don't have to have one set of armor, right? We can switch between what we have been using depending on the situation we're in. Now I'm wondering what you prefer to do here. I guess it depends because you can choose to kill Cicero or leave him live and lie to Astrid and tell her you killed him. Like I said, the outfit looks the same as the Jester set and even has the same enchants, but the enchants are slightly stronger. If you don't kill him, he can become your follower later. But the thing is, I don't want to use another follower besides Serana with this character, so I chose to kill him. I took a stab and he stood up weirdly after losing half of his health. Yeah, then he led back down. I took another swing and he is no longer with us. He has an ebony dagger which is gonna replace my elven dagger since it does more damage, and I swapped out my jester set for Cicero's better set. I also put a level I just got into adept illusion again. I got some good stuff out of that quest. Now let's head out of here and get back to the main sanctuary. Astrid was happy the jester is gone and says I can hold on to her horse. Why is that, Astrid? You feeling guilty about something that's gonna happen? And we can press on towards our goal of taking down the Emperor, who is having a special dinner soon where we will do just that. Now we need to kill the gourmet for the dinner and take his place as head chef to poison the food. Festus is in charge of this job and said I need to find out who the gourmet is first. Someone called Anton in Markov is supposed to know who he is, so we have to go shake him down and take him out too, so there is no loose ends. Found the guy that might know who the gourmet is. I intimidated him into telling me who and where he was. He is an orc, staying at the Night Gate Inn. Now we have to tie up the loose ends like Festus said, but there are 2 other people in the room, which is unfortunate for them. I took a swing at this lady, and then the man came over to see, and I got him too. Take that, sucker. Now to take out Anton. Sneak and backstabber, pretty OP. Made it to the Night Gate Inn that's in the middle of nowhere, and I headed on in to find the gourmet, who was sleeping down in the basement, which made things very easy. Took him down, and I hid the body behind these barrels. Finally, it's time to return to Astrid for the final stage. We now have the rite of passage to get unrestricted access to the kitchens. She gives me the poison too. Poison in hand, I went to Solitude and showed this guy the rite of passage. He gave me access to the kitchen, and I went on in. Got my chef's outfit on. I'd trust someone that looks like this with my food for sure. I was telling the assistant what to put in the food. I started with a nice sweet roll, then some vampire dust, giant's toe, and a gold coin. Honestly, I don't think it needs the poison now. The Emperor's about to choke on a coin, but I put it in just in case. And I headed into the room with the assistant carrying the food. Casted my invisibility spell and hid in the corner while he ate it. He died, and I grabbed his outfit, and I'm gonna sneak out. Only to be met by the head of security and a bunch of soldiers who said we had been ratted out by a member of the Dark Brotherhood family, and that the Emperor I thought I'd just taken down was actually a decoy. He also said that the Dark Brotherhood is being attacked by soldiers as we speak. Then ordered the soldiers to attack me, and I died a good few times. Yep. This is going really well. I instead decided to not fight them and to run and hide. Then when I lost their attention so they didn't follow me through the door, I left through this hidden looking exit behind Solitude. I popped on Arvek and I left. Ran down the road from Falkreath to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary to find carts loaded up with oil. I took out the soldiers and found Festus pinned to a tree. Then inside again, sneak attacking everyone. Found the Argonian who is also gone. Deeper into the sanctuary, I found Astrid's husband who is a werewolf fighting soldiers, but he dies too. Then Gabriella. Everyone is being taken down. I helped Nazir fight off this dude and was spoken to by the Night Mother to come to her. I got in and was told to sleep. Then after some time, I woke and was told by the Night Mother to find Astrid. She is still somewhere in the sanctuary. Nazir opened up the Night Mother's bed to get me out. Told him I have to go find Astrid, and I left. I remember freaking out the first time I got to this part of the game way back as a kid. Astrid was the traitor. I know, shocker. She admitted it and said it was to protect the family. They would let the family continue what it had been doing, but she too was betrayed by the Emperor's security, and here we are. There is the Blade of Woe, her dagger. It's an ebony weapon, but it does more damage than the dagger I'd been using. 25 damage with a 30 times backstab is pretty nice. 750 damage. With us not doing smithing, alchemy, or enchanting, that is pretty good. Take that, traitor. Return to the Night Mother, who says we still need to fulfill the contract to take down the Emperor. He's still in Skyrim, but not for long. I went over to Whiterun's Inn to talk to Amand Montier, who is hiding out. He seemed surprised to see me, but happy that I still want to finish the contract, and told me where to find the real Emperor. He's on this boat under Solitude, so I went and snuck on board through the anchor hole and got a sneak attack while invisible on every single person on this ship. There were a lot of weak sailors and a bunch of soldiers. None of them seen me coming, and it was very, very satisfying. Eventually, I made it to the real Emperor, and I struck him down. Yeah, it is over, just like that. I took his stuff, now to leave the empty ship and return to Whiterun to meet an excited Amand Montier, who says our business is done, and to collect my pay in the crypt we first met. I went to collect and found 20,000 coin inside this urn. That is a lot of coin. Only one thing left to do, and that's go check in on Nazir and let him know the job is done. Him and Bobette are living in the sanctuary we took down Cicero at, and I totally lied to him. I told him I was only given 5,000 coin. He wants me to use it to fix up the sanctuary by employing Delvin from the Thieves Guild. But I won't, it's my coin now. I went to clear out my inventory. It had gotten pretty messy, so I hit up some traders around Dawnstar and Whiterun doing just that. I want to thank you guys if you're still watching all the way till the end of the video. You were able to watch this video for free, so I would appreciate a like if you enjoyed it. It just lets me know that you want to see more videos like this one. It's day 100 now, and I went back home to Bloodchill Cave to hang up some things that I'd collected. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I will say, it wasn't as stressful as I thought it would be. The last time I tried to play as a vampire, it was very, very brief, and I didn't even have the Dawnguard DLC installed. So back then, if you were a vampire in the final stages like I have been in the whole video basically, then NPCs will fear you and you'll get bounties all over the place. You won't be able to go into towns. It was dreadful. But when they added the Dawnguard DLC, they removed it, so I didn't have to go through any of that in the video. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. I kinda like that people would hate you, even though it kinda sucked to be a vampire too. And don't get me wrong, I definitely had more fun doing it this way. And I'm sure there's mods to get that system back if you wanted. What do you guys think of that change? Do you like it the way it is now? Do you like it the way it was? Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you around. Bye-bye. War Thunder, a highly realistic, intense gaming experience. Don't forget to sign up and create an account today to play War Thunder with over 70 million players, including myself. And if you use my link in the description, you get some awesome rewards.